Friends and fellow travelers, welcome back to the Journey Well as we continue with our series, the Tarot and Shadow Challenge from the Tarot Diagnosis. And we are now on day 3 of this challenge, which prompts us to ask, how does anxiety mislead me? A lot of ways, right? But we're going to look at one way that it's misleading me. And I encourage you to, use this as a prompt for yourself to think about how anxiety leads you, or based on what it's doing to me, maybe you can think about how that relates to you, because I think one of the powers of these challenges is that they're very universal. It's not like I'm the only one that experiences anxiety, or you're the only one that experiences it in the way that you do. We are connected in that sense that we all experience life, and we all have common threads that connect us in that experience. So let this card, unless you want to pull one for yourself, be a prompt for you based on what it triggers in me. So how does anxiety mislead me? That's how it does it. Are you ready? Sometimes I'm not ready for the answers. Well then. That, my friends, is the Death card. And let's just look at that for a minute. Death is obvious, and it's funny, it's almost too on the nose for this question. It's almost too obvious. But what I'm looking at in this card right now is the Grim Reaper taking a sickle to the flower. Now, this flower, to me, looks a lot like the flower that the Fool holds on the beginning of a journey. So, anxiety misleads me in the sense that, the journey is ongoing, but with that, it has multiple endings too. So, whatever I set out to do, there's a time to let it go. And I think that anxiety, for me, is all about control, and oftentimes controlling something in the future or ruminating on something from the past. And as long as I do that, I have no actual control because I'm not dealing with things in the real present time. So this Death card, how does anxiety mislead me? I feel like it misleads me in the fact that I can't let things die. Or that if there's a death occurring, which isn't a physical death, it's a metaphoric one that says something is ending, something is no longer serving me. I try to control that and not let it end because I'm telling myself a story that if the sun sets on this idea, if the sun sets on this way of being, that I am losing my way of being, that I am falling apart, that I am dying. Instead of a thing, instead of something outside of myself, it's a physical death in me. But no, journeys come to an end, and the journeys that don't come to an end have no destination. So wrapping myself up in a destination is very rooted in where my anxiety comes from. In part, like I said, there's a lot of places that anxiety comes from, but this card is telling me right now, calling my attention to the fact that there is no destination to a journey. It's a process. And there's going to be seasons that come and go. There's going to be ideas that pan out and ones that don't, but the ones that don't are leading me to better understanding so that when I have another opportunity in the future, I'll be able to take it because I've learned things. And so Grim Reaper here, he's peaceful, right? He's not vindictive, and the sunset's beautiful. The other funny thing about death in this sense and how does anxiety mislead me is that in the season we're in fall, the harvest season, the Grim Reaper is harvesting. He just looks a bit scary, but that flower, if it keeps going, will die. But if we take it now, we can preserve beauty and bring it elsewhere. I'm not thinking of it as a flower in this moment. I'm thinking of it as crops. I'm thinking of it as farming. There comes a point in every season where you have to reap the harvest. The Grim Reaper is there with a sickle to reap the harvest. So instead of seeing the end of things, I feel that my anxiety is blocking me, misleading me to the truth that the harvest is being reaped. That it's not a death, a finite end to a cycle in a sense that it's never going to bear fruit. It's already saying that fruit has been born and now it's my time to cultivate it. So anxiety is telling me, no, 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 we can't cultivate it. We got to keep going, keep going. Don't let it die. But if I don't let it die, I never harvest the rewards. And going back to one of my, I think day 1 or 2, I forget which one it was, but it was about, these ideas having to go a certain way or become a certain thing and me controlling that. And anxiety is control. So I'm too much led by that control, that desire for control, that it has to manifest a certain way. I have to have certain metrics. I have to see certain trends. Otherwise the sickle comes through and it cuts my head off. No, it's not that. It's harvest. It's reaping the reward. It's not killing. It's ending what needs to end, reaping what needs to be, brought into myself. And I don't always get that. I don't always get to reap the rewards, right? Sometimes our call is just to do things because we're deeply connected to them and we may never see the outcome of that. So when an idea comes to an end or when a cycle ends and I have to transition to a new one, I need to stop controlling it. And when I have anxiety, I need to become very aware of what is it that I'm trying to control. And what is it truly saying about me? Is it really saying that I am doing something wrong? Or is it just my fear of giving up control? Because when we don't have control, it can be very scary. We need security, but we also need variety. So I feel this card is telling me when anxiety comes, look to areas where I do have security first so that I can then go sit with that anxiety and whatever it's connected to and ask myself, is there truly a reason for me to be afraid? Am I choosing to disempower myself and stay small? Or am I really being made aware of something that really needs my attention? So death is misleading my anxiety because I'm mistaking what death means and how much control I have. So hopefully that was, a good prompt for you, because it was for me. And if you want to share a bit about what this card maybe meant to you, or you want to do it yourself with your own cards, that would be awesome, because I'm having a good time. I mean, one of the reasons that I like these challenges again is because it gives you a reason to sit every morning and think. And I love to be introspective, because one of the reasons I love tarot is because it's a prompt to go inside and ask yourself a question that you probably wouldn't have asked yourself without the aid of a guide like this. So cool. Looking forward to the next day. And until next time, journey well, my friends.